Hi, I'm Glenn Haussman reporting for heretostay.tv, and I'm with Jan Jacobsen, who's a global accommodation manager with AIG. Really interesting job. You actually put people in hotels, service departments, homes all around the world. How do you get into this business?
Well, I come from the hotel side, so I was on the supply side for a good 20 years. And then I shifted over to the buyer side in 2009. And because of the expertise of where I came from, is how I ended up in this silo, managing the accommodation space.
It's fascinating to me. So what is it that folks within AIG are looking for when staying in cities abroad?
Well, the key component to any sleeping program is the rest quality. So when I did a survey amongst our travelers, we were looking at roughly 7 hours spent in the sleep units per day. And of course the purpose of the trip, there's an objective for the trip, and the whole purpose of the rest is to make sure that quality of rest is good enough so you're fit for fight best next day.
Only 7 hours spent in the sleeping accommodation? I need 14 hours of sleep at night. How do your employees do it?
I guess they are hungry salespeople.
Right. So what are the types of accommodations that you're looking for, and what are some of the things that are really satisfying the needs of the folks within AIG?
So the accommodation program is split into 4 silos. So I have a classic hotel spend, and the classic hotels for me are bedrooms without kitchenette facilities.
That would be more for folks who are in town just for a couple of days.
For me, it's not necessarily about length of stay, it's about a personal preference.
Okay.
Then you have a part hotel, so in that midway between the two. And then I have the service apartment space, which is very much your private or your residences. And yes, they are free to choose between either of the 3, and it's a bit like if I go from New York to Washington, I can fly or I can take the train.
I prefer taking the train. I'm a New York guy, so
and
Amtrak is the best for New York to DC.
And a lot of people do prefer that because of the flexibility, the freedom, is the simplicity, and it's the same in the sleeping space.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. So how has your mix then changed over the last few years? Because I'm seeing a maturation of service departments, for example.
So what has happened because of now the diversity of the product offering? So when I compared the other day, 2016 to 2017, the ratio of decline in hotel usage has been displaced into the service department and part hotel world. So we're seeing an increase, significant increase year over year. Now there's still a smaller portion of the bigger pots, but it's definitely on the increase. So we're looking at a 29.7% year-over-year increase of usage, which is a significant increase.
But it was a small percentage to begin with, but 29%.
It was nothing to begin
with. So 29% sounds huge, but it's to me it's very symbolic of where we're moving to right now. So why do you think this is the case?
Well, there's one thing that has happened in the industry, and a few years back, a certain OTA out of the west coast of the United States got a lot of air and a lot of publicity, rightfully or wrongfully, but they brought something to the market that made average Joe aware that there were other sleeping alternatives out there than a classic standard hotel. And I think the drive, and what I then jumped on in my organization, was to utilize that market PR and say, guys, we have I wouldn't go all the way down to home sharing. That's not where my program sits.
No, you don't think your guys want to sleep on some dude's couch?
Nope. Nope.
Yeah, but I get it. It makes a lot of sense to me. So what about your role in all of this? Are you pushing people at all to certain ways, educating them, I guess is the right way to say it?
Yes, persuading is another one.
But why persuading? Why is it better for you to put people in those kind of accommodations?
It's about the educational piece is about awareness. So from a policy standpoint, so first it was an optional service offering. Then moving along the lines of more flexible space, you can kick back and chill out, you have more room to move around. There was no all the hustle and bustle around the service element of a hotel, so it's kind of that freedom. That was the first initial. Then when we then changed the policy of anything above 7 nights moves into a service department or an apart hotel, then it became policy.
Right.
And that's when it becomes the educational piece. And for me, the biggest kickbacks that I have is not necessarily in markets where you have well-known brands or supply.
Right.
It's in markets where when I have an American traveler going to Tokyo, as an example, you have a handful of good international supply chains in Tokyo, but they are not very familiar in the US about that brand.
Right. I remember when I was younger, the first time I left the United States, I felt comfortable saying an American brand because I knew what I was going to get. Now I'm older, I'm a little bit more adventurous, and I understand the business a little bit more. So you kind of have to act as that bridge to give them that confidence as well.
Yes.
But you're also needing to make sure that you're confidently putting people in places that they're going to be safe and secure.
Yes, so in terms of the sourcing and selection criteria, first of all my contracting and sourcing is done regardless if you're a hotel, apart hotel, service apartment, through the same sourcing and contracting tool. We go through the same vetting, we go through the same terms and conditions. So in the markets, they're all playing in the same pots, regardless. Then obviously the next piece of it is the security piece or the quality control piece, where I'm a big supporter of ASAP, set up here in the UK, where when they got together and a collection of service department providers to set an industry standard to be recognized. So I would support anything and everything they do because it helps me do my job, to create confidence in my travelers that I'm not just putting them up in some random Joe's apartment somewhere.
That's interesting to me. It looks, from what I'm getting from you is, it looks to be more of a partnership between you and these places as opposed to you dictating to the hotels or apartments or whatever.
Yeah, no, it's very much a mutually beneficial partnership. It takes two to tango.
Right.
And it needs to be beneficial for both sides in order to benefit the traveler. So if whatever I put together as a program, whatever the objective of the program is, if it doesn't meet the needs of the people we're moving around, it kind of defeats the purpose.
How much has the growth in technology changed this in sense of now you're able to book real time in a lot of these places where you weren't before? Is that opening up the doors for more experimentation in this sector?
Absolutely. If we can't book it on your mobile, it's not even worth worrying about. That's the mentality in the corporate space. We're used to mobile-friendly options to everything we do. So when you then move into a service department world where send me a fax, I'll get back to you in a couple of months, and I'll tell you in a couple of months after that where you're going to stay. Those days, they're history. In my opinion.
Right, no, I think so too. You talk to the kids today, they don't even know what a fax machine is anymore, right?
Yes.
I like the idea of maybe just being able to Instagram a hotel room and get one that way. We'll see. Anything else that you think is really important that people should be thinking about when it comes to making sure that their team members are placed well?
I think it's about being aware of the various options that are out there. Don't be scared of the unknown and invest some time and effort into it, which is what I've seen, what we've done with our accommodation program is by investing those 2 years that we used on the project. Overall, the financial reward as an organization, it has significantly impacted the GOE at the end of the day.
General state of business travel, are you booking more rooms every single year at this point?
We are getting busier and busier and busier.
I'm happy to hear it, but also sad for you personally, because that means a lot more work for you.
Yeah, there is no life. It's a lifestyle.
That's right. That's again what I love about service apartments. It is a lifestyle, right?
It's true. It's true.
Any final thoughts?
No, I just think in terms of any accommodation provider out there, be clear of who you are, be honest and transparent of who you are, stay true to yourself. Then it's a win-win for everybody.
Great. I got one more question for you.
That's all right.
What annoys you most of all when it comes to booking people?
At the moment, it's still in the corporate space. The technology piece, it's behind times.
Right.
That's for me still my biggest pain point. It's moved a long way, but
still a way to
it's still a way to go into the consumer space.
And that's frustrating because no matter how far you go, then the finish line keeps moving and moving and moving.
And expectations, therefore, keep also moving.
Yeah, I feel like I could talk to you all day. Yeah, this has been great, but we got to wrap up. So thank you so much for being here. For Jan Jacobsen and me, Glenn Haussman, thanks for watching Here to Stay TV.